Hello, everybody. I know, odd time to just drop a random video from you right on a Monday when I record the podcast and Para Presents and other things. But I needed to drop this because I just found this today. You guys know that I do a lot of autonomous deep dives on top of many other things, but autonomous is something I follow very closely. Often we find stories that only promote autonomous because, as I've mentioned, a lot of these companies are in bed with newspapers, so the newspapers that run them are getting funding from them too, so they really only can report the good, maybe the neutral, but they can never report the bad. Well, I want to share a story with you. Cruise is in San Francisco and operates during a very limited window of time in the evenings. Doesn't operate in the days, and it only has certain paths it takes. Um, Cruise is about to start operating in Dallas and Houston. And I want you guys to take a look at this video because this is a take that I haven't seen yet, and I loved it, and I thought it needed to be shared with you guys. So I want to take a look at this, and then we're going to be discussing it maybe here or there on different things this week. So let's take a watch. It's a 2.5 minute video. Stick with me.
A car stopped in the middle of the street blocking emergency responders. Another getting very close to a city bus. This one seemingly confused by road construction and frozen in its tracks.
Finally stopped right before falling into a hole.
Some robot drivers in training do not seem to have learned all the rules of the road.
I'm seeing at least one incident a day now with autonomous vehicles.
For years, the city by the bay has served as the testing ground for a fleet of robo-taxis from Google's Waymo and GM's Cruise. Driverless cars you can hail with the touch of a button. But when things go wrong, they are a traffic nightmare and posing real roadblocks for first responders.
The autonomous vehicle just came and blocked them. And
Fire Chief Janine Nicholson's people say without a driver at the wheel, robot cars often make the wrong choice around fire trucks.
They stop in the middle of the street and turn their emergency blinkers on anytime they see flashing lights on an emergency vehicle.
When a fire department has to roll out on a call like this, if they can't get to a fire in time, every minute that goes by, the fire can double in size.
Firefighters describe driverless cars rolling into fire scenes, running over hoses, even having to break windshields to stop a vehicle.
the technology is not ready for prime time.
The director of transportation here says 911 calls about robot cars have tripled in the last year. But here's the thing.
We have no regulatory authority over them whatsoever.
Even though it's your city that's being affected?
That's right. It's our city and our streets, but the state of California has preempted municipal authority over autonomous vehicles, unlike taxis or scooters.
He's filed protests with state officials and says, unlike other industries, robot car companies share only limited data. Cruise did not respond to interview requests, but Waymo says robot drivers are on their way to being safer than humans. After all, more than 42,000 Americans died in vehicle accidents last year.
We have very infrequent events that occur, but they do get a lot of attention.
They say it's 3 911 calls a day about autonomous vehicles. So that doesn't sound infrequent, I have to say.
What I mean is relative to the number of miles that we drive and relative to the number of emergency vehicle contacts that we face on a day-to-day basis.
Waymo's chief safety officer says that every mile of the millions driven in California and Arizona teaches the whole fleet new skills. And the company is expanding service here. LA is next.
We hope to increase the number of rides 10x by next summer.
A tenfold expansion of autonomous vehicles here in San Francisco would have a dramatic impact on congestion. It would result in significant delays to our transit system and to emergency vehicle response time.
And it might even cause a threat to safety, to hear you tell it.
Yes.
Jake Ward, NBC News, San Francisco.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.
Clearly, that's an NBC piece. Just said so. And I just wanted to give them the credit, obviously. And I want to really credit them for doing that story because more stories like this are to follow. If you guys caught that, like what I said in the beginning, there aren't a ton of these cars out there. They only follow certain routes, and yet they are becoming a bigger problem every year. Even San Francisco has said so, that they're way up this last year. And then you got Waymo's guy saying that, well, only 3, the one person's like 3 911 calls a day on average, and he's like, "Well, that's not that many given how many." It actually is. You don't have that many out. So that's actually a lot, and the things that it does, run red lights when the police walk up to it, stopping first responders, these are real deal. These are really happening in San Francisco. San Francisco as a whole is not down with the Cruise and Waymo program, and because there's no regulation on it, they are doing what they want with some backdoor deals, and the bottom line is even the city, the residents there don't like it, and I think I always wondered why it was at night that they were operating and not in the day instead. Probably why is because only people going to the bars and out at night are having to see these things. Because if the normal citizen saw them, 'em, they'd probably be livid because, again, if you heard in that piece, they said every day these cars are learning more and more and sending it to the fleet, meaning these cars are not road ready. You guys, leave your comments in the comment section below, please. Autonomous or no autonomous now? Not in 5, 10, 15, 20 years or different levels of autonomous. Are we ready for driverless cars in cities, in mass fleets? Not just taking jobs from us for doing rideshare, but are we ready for this? Are we ready for a company that's responsible for the car, but they malfunction all the time and do wrong? Are we ready to deal as a society with a car, not operated by a person that accidentally kills somebody or whatever, and where do you point the finger? Leave your comments below, please. We're going to be talking about it this week. Peace, y'all. Have a good one.